Hello everybody, welcome to Just One Perspective. My name is Josh, Noise Ordinance. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for watching today, joining in the conversation. As you can see, I have this amazing new shirt. My wife got it for me for Christmas, which immediately made it the perfect Christmas. I can't imagine it getting any better than that. Look at that. That is me in the middle of saying Noise Ordinance. I've peaked. Like, this is it. This is the only shirt I'm ever going to wear, ever again. And I'm never going to wash it, either. So keep your distance, I guess. I hope everybody had a great Christmas and a holiday weekend, and that you got time to spend with your families, your friends, and this is not opening. Today's drink of choice is Truly. This is a berry punch. It is fruity and delicious, and I went to jiu-jitsu twice today, so I've earned it. Actually open it. Now I'm told, well, yesterday so many people at Christmas, we hosted Christmas here, so many people said, hey, can you make one of these for me? So, you know, maybe one day we'll find a way to make these available for people. I always imagine having Noise Ordinance, but then having more of the logo or something, but she thought it would be funny and clever, and she wasn't wrong, to capture a moment in which I was actually saying Noise Ordinance. So very well done. Okay, I have once again just a quick message for everybody. As you can see, I'm in my office today, so I'm sorry if there's a little bit of an echo, because I have these, here I'll show you. I have these which help with some sound barrier stuff, but it's only on that side, and this is a decently sized room, so there's probably going to be some echo. I decided to do this today instead of going outside like I did that last time, where I'd be just plunged into darkness and you would be hearing from a silhouette or somebody who had red all over their already red face. You don't need any more red on this face. So here we are. Thanks for joining. So anyway, sorry, boy, lots of context. Here, you want to hear my life story? So I've been thinking a lot lately about the truth and how best to handle it, and when to listen and when to speak up. Because a lot of times my message here is you should speak up, you should speak the truth, you should say what needs to be said, even if others aren't saying it. You should try to find the right way to say it, right, so that you get the truth in there. Without, or while still preserving your relationships. I think there are certain times that you should just shut up and just listen, and I'm going to go into a couple of those times. The obvious is just when you have a friend who's down and he needs to talk, just listen to that. But what I really want to go into is kind of like wielding the truth like a hammer and just like taking people out with it. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. These are the kind of people you hear at work, in an office environment, or any sort of work environment where you have multiple people, that they don't like to play politics. They don't play the game. And so therefore, that's why they don't ever ascend to the next level or get promoted or anything like that, excuse me. But really what that means is that they don't have a filter, they don't know how to talk to people, they don't have an audience, they don't have tact. They take the truth, they take a big hammer, they inscribe truth on it, and then they hit people with it, and then they expect them to be okay with that. I'm not advocating for white lies here. You know, that's a completely different beast, and I'm not going to go into that. But there's a way to deliver the truth without just completely wrecking everything. And so you got to be nuanced, and you got to take into account how are they feeling, what do they want to know, what's the context, that kind of thing. I'll give you an example of a time that I should have just, I know I'm kind of blending two topics here, wielding the truth like a hammer, and also when should you just shut up, because there's two things here. An example of when I should have just kept my mouth shut. For example, my wife and I used to love watching movies and going to the theater and having a great experience. The modern movies just don't cut it anymore. They're just bad, so we don't really go to many anymore. And the poor thing, it's definitely mostly because, not definitely mostly, I don't know why I said that, it's definitely because of me. And we don't go to movies anymore because I just don't want to deal with being insulted at movies all the time. But anyway, that's just me. But an example back in 2012, this movie came out called Prometheus, which was a precursor to the Alien series. And as the movie wore on, as we were watching it, I just started cringing harder and harder at just how bad it was. It was just an awful movie with lots of plot holes. The characters were just doing the dumbest things that made it so unbelievable that was just, it was kind of a bummer, really, because we're thinking, oh, it's, who directed, James Cameron, Ridley Scott? Ridley Scott, did he have the first one? Did I get the name right? I don't know. But, and we were excited to see what he wanted to show us prior to the Alien movies happening, and we walked out of there, and I was like, wow, how could anybody like that movie? That is an awful movie. And my wife said, that was a really good movie. I really enjoyed that. And you know what I proceeded to do? And this wasn't intentional. This wasn't meant to be rude or anything. I was just sharing my opinion. But I just said, actually, I thought that was an awful movie. And she asked me why. And I proceeded to list every single reason why I thought it was a bad movie. And then at the end of my list of logical point-by-point play of why that was such a terrible movie, she looked at me and she was like, wow, you're right, that was a bad movie. And then she seemed kind of down the rest of the day. And later on I reflected about that, and I thought to myself, okay, so before she asked me, or before I offered my opinion, my unsolicited opinion, she was having a great time. She was doing great, and she enjoyed the movie, and she had fun with her husband out at the movies and whatever. And then she spoke to me, the poor thing, which clearly in this case was a mistake, on my end, not hers. And then she no longer enjoyed the movie and really didn't enjoy the rest of the evening. I don't think. I mean, I could be just reading into her behavior incorrectly, but it seemed like she was down a little bit the rest of the evening. And looking back, now I think, well, why did I even do that? Did I make it better for her? Did I make it better for me? The answer is no in both cases. I mean, I gained nothing. Maybe I kind of got it off my chest, but was she the one who needed to hear about it? So I should have just shut up and just kept my mouth shut and said, oh, I'm glad you liked it, and just leave it at that. Now we have, and I've told her this story too, so this won't be a surprise to her if she listens to this video. Which obviously she does because she made this, right? Look at this awesome shirt. Isn't that fun? Noise ordinance. So now we have kind of this agreement that I told her is that, hey, if we walk out of a movie and I didn't like it, I'll just tell you that I didn't really care for it, but I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I'm not going to give you the reasons why. And she said that's fine. So now if we just walk out of a movie and I'm silent and I don't really talk about it, she knows I didn't really like it. So she knows that I didn't really enjoy the not instant Christmas cult classic Violent Night because I haven't really talked to her about it. But I had a good time with her, and so again, why ruin the evening that we had because I have an opinion that nobody cares about, right? I hope some of you care about my opinion, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. So that was one instance. And it was making me think of some other instances when you should just keep quiet. And what's kind of the main reason you should, what's that line in which you should speak the truth versus just keep your damn mouth shut and just move away from the situation. Just get past it. Don't worry about it. And I think it depends on the stakes. When the stakes are high, you should speak up. When your job is at stake. When your child's life is on the line, when things are happening in your city and you need to go talk to city council and make your voice heard. Those are kind of things that you should speak up about that have immediate consequences, potentially even far-reaching, long-ranging consequences. Those are the ones that you need to speak up about. They have higher stakes. If the stakes are low, think it through. If I just keep my mouth shut and that person believes whatever they believe, and I jump in and say something, what's it really going to change, right? Is it going to change anything? Or is it just going to make things not as cool as they were a few moments ago? And I think about this with politics. You know, I went to college, and it's a pastime of college students to talk politics. And everybody's brilliant. Everybody knows all the answers to all of the national problems plaguing the USA. Every single college student, brilliant. There's just freaking geniuses out there. We should just turn it over to them because they're all so smart. If you're a college student and watching this, go to the next house party. Just listen to the other students around you. Maybe you don't hang around some of these crowds, but somebody there is going to be talking politics, and they're going to think that they have all the answers. I have bad news for you. You don't. And I have bad news for my past self. I didn't either. I still don't. But I was one of them too. So I'm speaking to myself here too. It's not just, I'm not like lecturing people here. But when I think back to any sort of political conversations, it's like, can I really affect a lot of change? Maybe I can change some minds, and maybe somebody eventually votes my way, or the way that I think that they should vote too. But I think statistics are pretty clear that people tend to just double down on their arguments unless you have a really good political conversation. And a good political conversation has to start like this. Tell me what you believe and why you believe it. Because now you're getting to the values. Now you're getting to, why do you value what you value? Because everybody thinks that they're thinking about it the right way in a moral sense, in an ethical sense. And they think that, well, if I vote this way, that's because of my values of me being a good person, so I need to vote this way. And so if you just start a conversation like, hey, your ideology is wrong and it's bad, and you're an evil punk for it, I don't know why I said punk, and you're evil for it, you're not going to learn anything, and you're not going to sway any hearts and minds, and you're actually kind of just a jerk. So if you really want to have a political conversation, and you think that it could be beneficial, then I mean, we have, what's the word I'm looking for? Just sort of a culture around attacking ideology, right? And even ascribing to ideology, and labeling people and throwing them into a camp, and then you attack the camp instead of just having a conversation with the person. So a good conversation is, who is this person? Who am I talking to? What do they value? What do they want? How do they want to get there? And then probing some of these ideas. And asking them good questions that help them think through it. And you might find out that they ask you some good questions that help you think through it. But if you're just going to go into a discussion thinking that you're just going to prove them wrong, if the stakes are low and it doesn't matter because neither of you can affect national change because you're just a college student or you're just somebody who works at a small company or even a large company, and you're just sort of a citizen who has one vote, this is not in any way to say that you shouldn't try to affect change. Don't get me wrong there. I'm just talking about in these small instances, what do you gain by having one of those conversations? And there might be 1,000 of you out there in internet land who come back and leave a million comments saying, well, here's what you gain. Well, great, put them down there. I mean, if you can change a lot of minds with a conversation, great, do it. But I think more often than not, it probably behooves you just to be like, hey, that's cool that you think that, man, and inside thinking, I think you're completely wrong. I think you've got it completely backwards. You're all over the place. But I'm going to walk away from that one. Now you might be somebody who just really enjoys kind of these conversations that get a little heated and controversial and confrontational. If that's your thing, who am I to judge? Have at it. Enjoy. But for me, sometimes it's a cost-benefit analysis of how much energy am I willing to expend. Right. My older brother and my dad and I got into a conversation about the metric system versus the standard system. I know they're all watching. They're both watching now and laughing. It was a good conversation. I kind of approached it this way: is just, well, why is this one better than the other, and what do you think about that? And we didn't really come to an agreement, but I saw their side for what they were saying, and I wasn't even really advocating for a position. It was more of just trying to understand where they were coming from, why they thought one system was better than the other. And I'm not going to reveal who thought which system was better, or who was advocating for what, or anything like that. It was just a conversation about, why do we use certain measurements? Now, my old man loves to be confrontational, and let's talk, let's get, put up your dukes, that kind of thing. And that's fine. Again, that's fine. I'm not one to judge. If that's what you legitimately enjoy, yeah, do it. But sometimes in these specific encounters or conversations that you have, whether you're talking about movies or somebody wants to talk politics. It might be best, or somebody's hurting and they just need somebody to listen. Sometimes you just need to shut your mouth and just listen. And then when it comes time to tell them the truth about something, if the stakes raise higher and higher, don't hit them with a hammer. You know, be gentle with it, negotiate with it, help them through understanding where you're coming from, instead of just saying, hey, I know your problem, you're just a loser. That's not going to help anybody, you know. Like I said, inscribe the word truth on a hammer and say, you're a loser. That makes you a jerk in some cases. Sometimes people need to hear that too, though. You know, maybe not in so many words. They just need hard truth. But when the stakes are low, maybe keep your mouth shut. When the stakes are higher, start thinking about now is the time to speak up and be truthful and try to affect some change. So I've gone on long enough. I don't know if this counts as rambling. So thank you all so much for listening and watching. And again, I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. We're going into the new year, 2023. I hope that it's prosperous and amazing for all of you. So thanks all. My name is Josh. This is Just One Perspective. Stay vigilant out there, and I'll see you next time.